we begin by following the sound of the bell and allowing it to take us inward.
Please know as I speak these words for me, I know them also for you. For we are one. As I join the stillness, I remember. I remember the truth about myself and each of you. That we are one with the light, the love, the life of spirit. And through that principle of oneness, we have not only the quality of life and light and love and beauty and joy, but we are the very essence of it. And we take this spiritual principle and apply it actively to our lives. This is how spirit shows up on earth. Through us, in us, as us. So as we treat ourselves with kindness, and we treat others with kindness and compassion, and we look for ways to be useful in the world, we see God in action. We see God in ourselves. We see God in everyone. We see God in everything. I know today is already a beautiful service. That we hear and see and know and feel exactly that thing on our next step in our journey. It is always just right there. So we just open ourselves up to it and surrender to it and accept our good. I release my prayer knowing that is already done. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Cherie. Setting such a beautiful, beautiful space. Before some of you got here also in our service prayer, creating the space for this Taizé to unfold in grace this morning. And so I say good morning. Good morning. If you're new with us online this morning, my name is Reverend Diana Johnson. I'm the pastor and spiritual director for Mystic Heart Spiritual Center. We're an independent interfaith community. We teach universal principles and practical spirituality. And so we open our doors in welcome. We open our screens over the airwaves to you. We know that you'll be led to your own guidance and wisdom. And so we begin with our Taizé portion, our meditative portion of our gathering this morning, as together we sing.
Welcome home to your mystic heart. Lay aside whatever
surrendering in love to this one perfect moment. We take a moment to breathe, to allow the breath to bring us fully present. Giving your full attention as you follow the breath in, feeling the life flowing into every cell and every atom of your body, following it back out, letting go of any tension that you might be holding. And with every breath in, feeling the body come to life. And with every breath out, letting everything go. In this sacred moment, there is only the breath. There is only life unfolding. There is only now. As we settle into the present moment, we give thanks for our deep connection with all of life, and for our awareness that we are connected to all that is. This is what is meant by global community. Not only our human family that is spread across the earth, but also the more than human creatures, the plant beings and rock beings, the sand that covers the beaches, and the waves that rise and fall on the shores. All that is seen and all that is not. That which is known and that which can and will never be known. All connected at the deepest level. All teeming with the life of God. Shining with the light of Spirit. So we take just a moment to sense the light shining in and radiating from ourselves and from all that exists. Notice how there is no border between us, one light melding into the next. We are one light, expressing as infinite diversity. As we take the time to feel and know our oneness, we grow in compassion, empathy, and understanding. We come to understand that every thought, every word, and every action that comes forth from us, through us, makes a difference. And we take greater care. We become more mindful with each passing day. This month, our contemplations are centered in living Buddha, living Christ. And this morning we reflect on seeing the way and taking the path. We have grown accustomed to constant distractions. Our world has grown ever more complex. We're offered more choices in a day than ever before. We're exposed to media from every direction, addicted to the constant input, and quietly fearful of what the future may hold. We hesitate to turn off our technology for any length of time. And because our minds and bodies are so busy, we often forget how important it is to just slow down, to be still, to be present. Living in such a state, how can we hope to see the way? The way, the path that is ours to walk. And certainly if we're blinded to such a degree that our vision is clouded, we will likely miss the cues and clues that might otherwise be leading us to a more authentic and fulfilling life. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, "The kingdom of heaven is spread upon the earth, but men do not see it." It is literally in our midst. Both the Buddhist and Christian traditions warn that if we cannot touch the phenomenal world deeply, the world of material form, we will never know the noumenal, the sacred. In other words, if we cannot recognize the sacred in everything and everyone in the material realm, we will have no way to experience God or the ground of being directly. Once again, we are asked, even required by this spiritual journey called life, to be mindful, to bring our full attention into every moment. Thich Nhat Hanh suggests, if you are aware that the fresh air is there, and if you can deeply touch and enjoy the fresh air, you have a chance to touch the ground of the fresh air. The spirit present in the fresh air. You have a chance to experience the mystery that is God. Mindfulness exists as a concept within all major world religions. While Buddhism calls us to touch and drink deeply of all we encounter, but without attachment, the Bible consistently urges us to exercise disciplined attentiveness to our minds and hearts, to set aside our self-serving attitudes, and to live in the awareness of God's moment-to-moment provision.
Seeing the way is the one essential factor in taking the path that is truly ours. But the way is rarely immediately obvious. Even when we can transcend the distractions of daily life, we still don't know where this path might lead. And as humans, we tend to want to know the outcome before we begin. But the future is invisible until we create it. Our path is crafted one step at a time, one choice at a time. Seeing the way, then, consists of allowing the next step to be revealed to us, of mindfully choosing each footstep, each decision, asking, does this action bring more peace, love, and joy into my world? In faith, we trust that Spirit will guide us, and then we pay attention. Does this path have a heart? If not, it is time to make a course correction, to stop, to release our attachment to what has been, and pray for divine guidance. And then we must act on our intuition. We stop, look within, and then go where we are being led. Like all spiritual gifts, the way is invisible to our ordinary habits of perception. Heaven is visible only to the inner eye, love only evident to the heart. The voice of God speaks only in the sacred silence of contemplative prayer. As we pay greater attention to our inner guidance, we are shown our path. Each of us is a unique expression of the divine infinite. Although our paths may be similar, and though we may travel part of the way together, none of us can walk another's path. In our 3 minutes of shared silent contemplation this morning, I invite you to look at your spiritual journey so far. Does your path still have a heart? Does it bring more joy and peace to you and to the others in your life? And then ask the Spirit of wisdom that dwells within you, what exactly is my next step? Thank you, Great Spirit, for this time of blessed communion with you and with these living saints that surround me now. This loving and supportive spiritual family who are sharing my path now. May our paths always have heart, and may we never forget who and whose we are. Seeing the way involves attuning our attention to what Spirit is calling forth from us in every moment. What is seeking to be birthed through me into the world. Taking the path requires our total commitment to doing anything and everything that is necessary to bring that forth. With our hearts and minds fully open and receptive, we return our attention now to Reverend Diana's inspired Taizé contemplation, knowing that it encourages and empowers us to deepen our commitment to seeing the way and taking the path.
What are some of the truths we must come to terms with as we journey towards home? Impermanence is the first. Everything changes, is forever changing. A brief story from the book Going Home, Buddha and Jesus as Brothers. A gentleman in England, while studying Buddhism, kept repeating that everything is impermanent. He would always complain to his daughter about the impermanence of things. One day his daughter said, "Daddy, if things are not impermanent, how can I grow up?" In order for any child to grow up, things have to be impermanent. Otherwise, a 5-year-old would forever be 5. In fact, a child would never have developed in the first place. Impermanence is the basic condition for life. It makes everything possible. Buddhism teaches that attachment to what is causes suffering. And the graceful acceptance of changes as they occur relieves suffering, brings peace, joy, contentment. The Master Jesus taught a similar lesson. In the book of Luke, he says, "As for these things that you see, the days will come when not one stone will be left upon another. All will be thrown down." He called people instead to look to the one thing that never changes, the great mystery, the ground of being, the Father, by whatever name we call it. In this brief moment of silence, allow the wisdom within you to bring forth something that you are attached to. A circumstance, idea, belief, attitude. What would it look like, feel like, to release the grasp? To allow the graceful flow of change to move through this area of your life. There is ever and always one life, forever giving of itself as all of creation. I am, you are, a perfect and intentional expression of that one life. We hear this so often, but do we know it to be true? Like Source, I am eternal, as are you. Unchanging in my divine nature. And in my human form, I am impermanent, forever changing, as is the world around me. In this holy moment, I look past all appearances to what I know to be true. I know for myself, as I know for each one who reaches out this morning and connects in prayer, that the nature of life is goodness, wholeness. All life forms have the inherent capacity for healing. And so, setting aside my human perceptions, I sense the presence of God at work in this place, within and through each one of us. I call forth the power and intelligence and grace of God and allow it to move freely through the lives of each one of us. Bodies are healed, minds and hearts are peaceful. Relationships are graceful and loving. Wholeness prevails. Every being finds right livelihood and is supported abundantly. Thriving prevails. Each one knows balance between activity and rest, and is blessed with activities that nurture the soul and feed the spirit. Harmony prevails. I bring myself back again and again, mindfully attending to what is before me. I trust the process, letting go of attachment to outcomes. In deep faith that all are guided and guarded by the divine hand. I trust in divine order, timing, and wisdom. I release any and all doubt, knowing that by whatever apparent outcome, all is unfolding perfectly for the good of all. Everything that unfolds from this moment forward is answered prayer. I take a moment now to feel the power and divine presence at work. I'm deeply grateful. I release. I let it be. so be it. Amen.
I am letting go. I am letting God. I am fully alive. Spirit by my side. I am letting go. I am letting God. I am fully alive. Spirit by my side. I am letting go. I am letting go. I am letting God. I am letting God. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. Spirit by my side. Spirit by my side. I am letting go. I am letting go. I am letting God. I am letting God. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. Spirit by my side. Spirit by my side. I am letting go. I am letting go. I am letting God. I am letting God. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. Spirit by my side. Spirit by my side. I am letting go. I am letting go. I am letting God. I am letting God. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. Spirit by my side. Spirit by my side. I am letting go. I am letting God. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. Spirit by my side. Spirit by my side. I am letting go. I am letting go. I am letting God. I am letting God. I am fully alive. I am fully alive. Spirit by my side. Spirit by my side. I am letting go. I am letting God.
I invite you to now gently allow your awareness to begin to come back to the body. To the senses. To the atmosphere in the room. And as you feel ready, gently opening your eyes and allowing your gaze to take in whatever's before you. Feel free to peek around if you wish. Say good morning to the blessed saints, as Chris put it, that are here sharing in meditation this morning. Such a blessing to have you all here. This is at least part of your spiritual family, should you choose it for yourself, one of your support systems when you want it, need it. Always good to have that, right? Support. Connection. So as we close our Taizé meditation this morning, in preparation for the second half of our time together, we offer an opportunity for you to share of your financial good supporting the work that we do in the world, should you choose to do that today. And if you're joining us online, you could go to mysticheart.org and you'll find a donate button. You'll find a mailing address. And we thank you in advance for any and all gifts that come in every form. Your love, your support, all of the many ways that we are supported here. And for your financial support as well. We acknowledge and give thanks for God's infinite abundance and acknowledge that it's coming of source, but it does come through your hearts and hands. And so we are so grateful for that. And as we do that this morning, I went back to an old favorite from a country western singer named Billy Dean. Only here for a little while.
I go to concerts all the time, and don't you get frustrated when you go to a concert and people don't play all their hit songs? I hope I get to everything you want to hear tonight. We're going to start at the very beginning. The very first single was recorded in the spirit of the old gospel quartets. Some of my heroes like the Oak Ridge Boys and Larry Gatlin and the Gatlin Brothers. We're going to start right there with a little family harmony for you. Yeah, boy. 1, 2, 3. Gonna hold who needs holding, mend what needs mending, walk what needs walking, though it means an extra mile, and pray what needs praying, say what needs saying, 'cause we're only here for a little while. Today I stood singing songs and saying amen, saying goodbye to an old friend who seems so young. Well, he spent his life working hard to chase that dollar, putting off until tomorrow the things he should have done. It made me stop and think, what's the hurry while I'm running? I don't like what I'm becoming. I'm gonna change my style. I'm gonna take my time, not taking all for granted, 'cause we're only here for a little while. Gonna hold who needs holding, and mend what needs mending, walk what needs walking, though it needs an extra mile, and pray what needs praying, say what needs saying, 'cause we're only here for a little while. Oh, yeah. Hey, if you're gonna play in Branson, you better have a steel guitar in the band. That's what I said. So let me love like I'll never see tomorrow. Treat each day like it's borrowed, like it's precious as a child. Oh, take my hand, let us reach out to each other, 'cause we're only here for a little while. I'm gonna hold who needs holding, mend what needs mending, walk what needs walking, though it means an extra mile, and pray what needs praying, say what needs saying, 'cause we're only here for a little while. Yes, we're only here for a little while. Help me thank my buddy Jason Pritchett, Steve Lee.
In meditation, listening for what the service is to be, and that is going on and on in my head. So we say thank you for these gifts that are given this day. we use them well in our movement forward, in whatever form that takes, without attachment to outcomes. Thank you each and every one for your gifts. And so it is. And so, as we move toward our second half of our gathering today, please visit the altar if you choose to. I have brought some delicata squash, and Gary's abundance is amazing. The tomatoes and blackberries from Gary's beautiful garden. So feel free to take one home with you if you'd like to, and share in the abundance of spirit. Grab a cup of something warm and join us back if you'd like to have a conversation at 10:30. Thank you. Have a beautiful day. We'll sing you on your way. You can even join us and sing you on your way.
May your soul always find what it's looking for. May your heart always lead the way. May you live in peace and harmony. And may love always fill your day. May your path be strewn with happiness. May success find you everywhere. May you always embrace compassion and grace, and may God always answer your prayer. May you always embrace compassion and grace, and may God always answer your prayer.
God bless you. Thank you for being here.
Just loving all the chatter. Knowing that each of us is an integral part of this community, and our friendships and our love and our joy in being together, in seeing one another, in catching up with what's going on in our lives. It's just all good. And so I know this whole service is a celebration of that light and that life and that love. And I just am simply thankful for that. And so I know each one of us today hears exactly what we need for that next step in our growth. Whether that comes from Reverend Diana, which it probably does, but also the wisdom in the room. We know that each one of us, although Reverend Diana is special, each one of you are special, and you are, yeah, I love that. One of the first things that I just giggled at and heard is Tracy Roberti telling her kids when they were only like 10, "You're special and unique, just like everybody else." And I love that. Each one of us is a light of spirit that shines in the world. And so I simply release my prayer, knowing it's already done. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Cherie. That was beautiful and uplifting and fun. Thanks for saying I'm special, like everybody else. So welcome back this morning. Those joining us online, if you're new with us here this morning, either online or in the room. My name is Reverend Diana Johnson, and I am the pastor and spiritual director for Mystic Heart Spiritual Center. We're an independent interfaith community, and we teach universal principles and practical spirituality. We open our doors and welcome, trusting that you will be led to the guidance and wisdom that lives in your own mystic heart. We don't have your answers for you. So if you came here for that, but we are going to begin by joining our voices together in some uplifting music this morning, and you can feel free to sing along if you'd like. Even get up, dance, move if you want, or whatever.
As the spirit moves. Welcome to the Mystic Heart. Join the celebration. Lift your voice and sing your part. Make this affirmation. Spirit made us family with loving hearts to share. Together we are joyfully practicing love possible through prayer.
And everything's possible
So
through
welcome
prayer.
to Mystic Heart.
All right, family, here we go.
Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light. Everybody you meet. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, yeah.
All right, this month we're doing Living Buddha, Living Christ. So we have a Buddhist chant. It's an echo, so it'll be repeated so you can follow right along. May I be happy.
May I be happy.
May I be peaceful.
May I be peaceful.
May I be free.
Free.
May I be free.
May I be free.
May my friends be happy.
May my friends be happy.
May my friends be peaceful.
May my friends be peaceful.
May my friends be free.
May my friends be free.
May they be free.
May they be free.
If anyone has hurt me,
If anyone has hurt me,
I now freely forgive.
I now freely forgive.
If I have hurt anybody,
If I have hurt
may
anybody,
they forgive me now.
may 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 I have no judgments.
May I have no judgment.
May I have no hatred.
May I have no hatred.
May I have no enemies.
May I have no enemies.
May I be free.
May I be free.
If anyone has hurt me,
If anyone has hurt me,
I now freely
I
forgive.
now freely forgive.
If I have hurt anybody,
If I have hurt
may
anybody,
they forgive me now.
may they forgive me now.
I forgive myself right now.
I forgive myself right now.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings be peaceful.
May all beings be peaceful.
May all beings be free.
May all beings be free.
May they be free.
May they be free.
May we all 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 be free. Yeah. That song was written by one of the music directors of long ago at the Centers for Spiritual Living. One of Church of Religious Science back then Center, so I don't know, changed many times. Anyway, I invite you to join us now in our weekly ritual. Ritual, especially a prayer and visioning ritual, is so powerful. It's so creative. We don't see the immediate impact that we're having when we vision and we pray together, when we go to the imaginal realm, but it is an intensely creative process. We know that we're absolutely making a difference when we use the power of creation that way. And so I invite you now to take a creative journey with me, calling upon the full power of both the mind and the heart, engaging the body in the process as well, and joining me in the creation of a love-soaked world. See and feel with me now a world in which all inhabitants of this planet live from our highest potential. Kindness and generosity and compassion and peace and cooperation flowing in every direction. In this new world, all people honor and care for one another, for all of the life forms that share this beautiful planet, and for the planet that sustains us all. We remember that we are connected to all of life, that we are dependent on the planet to sustain us and on one another for connection and belonging. By aligning our every thought, word, and action with our vision, we're creating a world in which all people are well fed, have the safety and comfort of home, and a deep sense of purpose and belonging. A world in which health, education, and healthy relationships are supported by social systems grounded in integrity, compassion, and wholeness. Valuing every being for its uniqueness, we practice living truly authentic lives where vulnerability is celebrated. There's no need to defend ourselves or protect ourselves from anything or anyone. The world that we are creating by the work that we are doing is a world where there is no hatred or violence. We recognize the abundance that surrounds us. Greed is a thing of the past, as generosity flows freely in every direction. All beings gratefully receive all that is needed to live physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually fulfilling lives.
Yes.
The planet and its beings thrive like never before. As we learn to recognize the sacred in everyone and in everything, and we walk in reverence and gratitude for all that we have been given. We maintain this vision day by day, moment by moment. We align our actions with our vision, living these changes first in our own lives, with our families and our friends and our neighbors and our enemies. One neighborhood, one community at a time, a new world is being born. In this process of profound change, this beloved community stands as an open and welcoming place for all who seek support, belonging, and a sense of family.
Amen.
By the power of our deep faith and our inspired actions, this prayer is acted upon, answered even as it is spoken, for Spirit knows our heart's intent, our heart's desire, and so in full expectation of its grateful, graceful unfolding, we release this prayer to the creative power and intelligence that I call God, that goes by many names, to the one that gets it done. And so it is. the world seems to be moving through some gyrations as it moves in that direction, doesn't it? Certainly does. So our theme this month is Living Buddha, Living Christ. And the topic of conversation this morning for reflection and contemplation at Taizé was seeing the way, taking the path. This morning during Taizé, we spent time reflecting on the importance of being mindful in our day-to-day activities. Nothing new, right? Same old blah, 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 blah. Here she goes again. Pay attention, be mindful. Okay, yeah, we get it. Do we get it? Yes? Do we live it? So do we get it?
Do we remember it?
Do we remember it? Do we embody it?
All the time.
Do we practice it?
No.
That's why I'm talking about it again.
There you go.
There we are. Okay? Yeah. I know that's true for me. I mean, I am not exempt. But it does seem like we hear the same thing, we read the same, what we read, we listen to, you know, in the communities like this. It all comes down to some very simple things, very simple things. Why do we seem to need so much repetition with such a simple concept? Yeah. Brenda.
That's how you learn anything.
That's how you learn anything, repetition. Okay?
You gotta build new neural pathways.
Got to build new neural pathways. Yeah, our habits are wired in there.
We think we have it handled.
We think we have it handled. Yeah.
We want to control it.
We want to, oh, yeah, we want to control it.
Good luck.
Do we have control over anything?
No. Yes,
One
one
thing.
thing.
One thing? What's that one thing?
Our own behaviors and attitudes.
Our own behaviors, attitudes. Yeah. The way we experience whatever's going on. We can control that. If we remember to control that. We want to control everything else. Except that. Anyway. Yeah, we've been programmed since birth, right? We're born into a society, into a family, into whatever we're born into. We've been programmed. We've been programmed to chase distractions. So mindfulness and distraction, you know, are kind of opposing one another, right? It's natural, I think, for us, and we're encouraged to be fascinated by everything new. You know, newness is fascinating to our brains because it's how we learn, you know, something new, we are curious, we learn new things. But then our society tells us, you know, we gotta chase after the new, the different. We've been doing that since we were little. We chase after new relationships. This person. That person's getting kind of old. I think I'll chase that one for a while. Friendships. I'm tired of my house. It needs a lot of work. Why don't we move? Bob says this will not be a solution.
Oh, come on, Bob,
Yeah.
you know you'll love it.
You know?
Never again.
What about, you know, we have a neighborhood park, but it's not as nice as that neighborhood park. Our brains are wired to pay attention to anything new. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? We do need that about ourselves to learn. But don't we tend to get stuck when we give our attention to one or the other in extreme? When we give our attention to that which we already know or think we know, we have it down, or we are familiar with it, or whether it's a house, a relationship, we let it get stale and old. If we do that, we're in one place. And if we're constantly chasing the new, we're in an extremely opposite place. Right?
But with the same result.
But with the same result. So what's the solution to this dilemma?
Stay present.
stay present. There we are, back at mindfulness again. So the Buddhists have something as part of their teaching. Anyone familiar with Buddhist teaching at all?
The middle way.
The middle way, the middle path, the middle way. And many traditions have a version of that. Focus on that one because of our theme for this month. So what does that middle way mean? What does it look like from your perspectives?
Balance.
Okay, balance,
Be curious but not absorbed. not
Okay.
drawn, So that's balance.
curious, not absorbed or obsessed. Yeah.
Balance.
Balance,
Harmony. Peace.
harmony, peace. So,
Embracing the pain and purpose, so the light and the dark, and knowing that they both serve you.
okay,
So instead of fearing one, you embrace it.
okay.
And turn pain into purpose.
So embracing both the light and the darkness, both the joyful and the challenging experiences in life. Don't they both grow us if we're paying attention? Mark, did you have something?
Yeah, I'm toying with the idea of mindfulness as a tool. I like the term. I want to make a distinction between the body and the mind, and that distinction is going to involve the singularity of the body and the physical and what I can do with it as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
But the mind is a little different insofar as it's not so singular. It can be a mindfulness of a collection or a group.
Mm-hmm.
And in that way, it's got a peculiar quality, that the body. And so in that mix then comes this need to control.
Mm.
And so if we're all egoistic, that means, we're using our minds almost as we would use our body in a way of a tool and the control. And so that's where I'm kind of coming from this morning. I like the mindfulness idea, and I really hadn't thought of it before as needing to be not so separate,
Okay.
willing to participate in a mutual awareness.
Yeah, okay, good. So a middle way in not needing to have it my way, but being able and willing to say, well, let me meet you part way or meet a group.
Yeah, we versus me.
Right, okay. We versus me. Yeah, sure.
When you asked me to do the talk at the end of the month,
Mm-hmm.
I got a hold of Gary. I was calling him like our resident Buddhist. And I'm like, hey, I want to hang with the Buddhists. Want to take me? And met Reverend Helen.
Mm-hmm.
And I was asking her about the middle way because starting on my studies, that was coming up. And I asked her about, is it the middle between two extremes?
Mm. Yeah.
And she said something like, yes, and also,
Yes.
like when you talked about you're completely, in the distractions, or over here
Right.
you're completely in your old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she said we tend to look at things on a continuum
Yeah.
and think that the middle is the good spot.
Right.
But she said, what if you just threw that out? Like the continuum is not, it's either here or there, and
Right.
I'm going to go this,
Yeah.
but that there's a better way,
Mhm.
and that's just pointing back to the mindfulness and,
Right.
being present to, what ours is to do, what you
Right.
taught me.
Yeah. So presence, being present. Having your awareness, your consciousness, your mind, your heart, your body in alignment as often as you can remember to do that. Coming back. Anytime you can remember to bring it back, coming back, coming back. And it's not walking a straight path down the middle. It's that harmony, it's that light and dark, it's the back and forth. David?
Well, years ago, I was pretty active on protesting. And it finally, as I grew, it finally occurred to me that I was doing the exact opposite of what I wanted to happen.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I realized that, you know, and I lost a lot of friends that way because we're going for the gusto. And I
Yeah.
said, well, no, that just doesn't work anymore because if I'm opposing this, I'm
Right.
another force in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So then yesterday, a big thing happened to me. And that was I seen this situation unfold with a top presidential candidate. And I went, you know, I had so much negative energy against this person. And then I watched him get hurt. And I went, I fell asleep again
Right.
because he's my brother.
Right.
And he might not be awake enough to understand what brings everyone together, but he's my brother, and we can't get there without each other.
Right.
So it was kind of another major transformation for me is, you know, I can't even be
Right.
opposed to
Yeah.
that energy. You know?
Yeah. The response of compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that middle way, it can be about the back and the forth and the harmonizing and the balancing and the coming back over and over again. Sometimes it can be about looking at not necessarily making changes in your life, but seeing something old with new eyes. Okay? So you can look through a new lens at a relationship, at a home, at a career, a job, anything, at anything. You can put a new lens up and bring yourself back to seeing afresh, seeing anew. So this was another, oh, go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say, one of the things I found helpful building on what David said was, we don't always like a person's behavior.
Right.
It's not that we or don't like the person, it's the behaviors they're choosing
Yeah,
that are not helpful for all of us.
right.
So it's.
They don't agree with ours.
That's it. So that is where
That's
the,
all
I
it
think
is.
where the compassion and the grace comes, when you
Right.
can separate person and behavior.
Yeah, yeah. Important to remember too, it is about they don't agree with ours. That's what it's about. We have these opinions, beliefs, views, and ways that we see things should unfold, and someone else has another set. And we might say, yeah, but clearly mine are better. Don't we all believe that, right? So I'm not saying that there aren't some places, you know, where harm can be done or where, you know, that doesn't happen. But just remembering that we're all living according to our own beliefs and opinions. Dave and Chris.
I realize that I can't oppose the old, I need to build the new.
Right. Opposing and resisting the old is not well, it's productive, but not of what we want to see.
Right.
Facing what it is we do want, living into what we do want to see, aligning our own personal actions with those things that we want to see, because we're it, right? It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, well, they're going to handle it while I sit and watch. I mean, that's not a thing. Chris?
Earlier, talked about people with differing opinions, but there are people that do cause harm, you know?
Yes, that's what I
And so,
said.
you know, the phrase that comes
Yeah.
to mind for that is hate the sin, love the sinner.
Right,
You know,
Yeah.
it's not, don't make it personal.
Right.
Whoever it is doing the best they can with what whatever information or
Right.
emotional trauma or whatever they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's it like to be you?
What's it like to be you? We keep coming back to that question too. Okay, briefly, and then I'm gonna move us forward.
I had brought up the term ego,
Mhm.
and it seems to me this is, trying to support a belief. That's something the ego does. And
Yes.
it gets right behind it, it's willing to fight for it.
Uh-huh.
And this is a group where we're interfaith.
Right.
We embrace a variety of opinions, and I'd like to see ego take a back seat more to.
So would I.
To superego. Superego, not being the parent so much as just what's best for us all.
Yes.
And that means sometimes dropping all the thoughts, finding a peaceful place inside that isn't run by beliefs. It
Mhm.
just is.
Right.
And if we could all just be that, using examples we see in our culture,
Mhm.
we can learn to do that. And in a sense, it's pushing in the clutch, if you will, and just letting yourself be.
Right.
And that's where peace can come from.
Yes, and we say we'd like to see that in our society, but each one of us can only be responsible for being that within ourselves. That's it. Lucinda?
That's one of the things that is the hardest to remember, is that all things happen in the mind of God. So that person is a part of me, whether I consciously want to rejoice in that or not. Myself, one time I was told to draw a picture of every person that I considered my beloved, and I included someone with whom I radically disagree
Mm-hmm.
for that very purpose, because we are all one. We are all God in manifest form. Unfortunately, sometimes it's hard for us to remember that on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Whether you call it God or whether you call it
Spirit, whether you-
spirit or
The
life,
one. Yeah, the one. It's all the same thing.
we're all part of it.
Yes.
Yeah, and remembering that is challenging
And we
sometimes.
injure ourselves when we don't like that part of ourselves.
Yeah. Thank you. David and then Chris.
So my new friend told me what ego was about,
Uh-huh.
and she says that it's edging God out.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great acronym. Great acronym. Yeah. Chris?
I think that what's all been going on here is building on the same thing. The middle way
Right.
is the unity.
Right.
There isn't a right or wrong.
Mhm.
It's that remembering the unity is the middle way. And it may not be on the continuum,
Right.
but how are we unified and in harmony?
Yeah. How are we contributing to the whole in some positive way? So this was another piece to our contemplation during Taizé. Buddhist master Thich Nhat Hanh calls it touching things deeply. This idea of touching things deeply. As an example, if you're aware, he gives the example, if you're aware of the fresh air as you are breathing the fresh air, then you have the opportunity to touch the ground of the fresh air, the creator of the fresh air, the ground of being, the infinite life, whatever you want to call it, God. And you have a chance then to experience the divinity in the very mouthful or lungs full of fresh air that you've taken in. And he suggests, and I agree, that it's only in deeply touching the physical that we come to actually experience the presence of divinity, the sacred. It's in that mindfulness that all is sacred and divine, and that there is that light of spirit in everything, that we come to know God or presence or spirit. This is how we touch, he called it the noumenal. This is how we most directly experience the presence in our lives. So I'm curious what your thoughts are about that, needing to experience the physical in order to deeply experience the spiritual.
That reminded me of Jesus is quoted, I think, in the book of John, that he says, if you can't love your brother, who you can see,
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to love God who you can't see?
Right.
You know, if you can't love things that are physical expressions of spirit, you're never gonna jump over that to
Right.
directly into the spiritual realm.
Yeah. Good.
You were talking about it earlier when you were saying, how come we have to be reminded, remind ourselves so much? Well, my experience is I remember what I feel,
Okay.
not what my head does. So we experience God with our emotions,
Uh-huh.
and it's fearful for, there's a lot of stuff there.
Right.
And, but I don't know what the light is until I turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
So you really do have to go and see, do that journey of self and
Yeah.
experience that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe, I read a lot about with Thich Nhat Hanh, and that's what I believe he's,
Mm-hmm.
your emotions, your feelings.
Yeah. Thank you. And Chris, and then I'll come back on this side of the room.
It's kind of like the idea that you can't see the wind, but you can see the effect of it.
Yes.
So you can't see God, but you can see the effect of God through the creation
Right.
and the way in which you experience the creation.
Yes. Yeah, you don't see spiritual principles, but you certainly see the effects of them as they move through your own mind, heart, belief system.
But
And-
can't you see God there? Can't you see God?
Especially.
I can see God. I see it everywhere.
Right.
I mean,
It's in how you define that seeing God, I
correct.
guess.
From
Yeah.
our perspective here,
Yes.
we know how it's defined, but,
Right.
when you really see God, you can see God. I mean,
In
it's-
everything.
In everything.
But it
And-
doesn't hold a particular, like you say, draw me a picture of God. Not in that sort of a
Okay,
way.
literal-
Yeah,
literal.
not in a literal way, but yeah, definitely. That's what we talk about all the time here, is how that's part of this journey. Maybe it's all of the journey,
My
learning.
niece drew a tree, though, when I said, draw a picture of God.
Right,
And that was perfect.
yeah,
So, well, I just wanted to co-sign what you said earlier, change your perception,
mm-hmm,
and you change the reality.
right,
So
Right.
that was her reality,
yeah, yes. I'm gonna come back over here and then back over here and then, because we have actually, I didn't say this up front, we have a special meeting happening at 1 today about our new facility. So I'm gonna be a little more tight about keeping us in our time frame today. I don't mean to do that, I don't like to do that, but that's why.
Well, just in an effort to kind of tie this together, I like what you said about feeling. And let's look at breath. We all have the capacity to feel our breath. And perhaps that can be the bridge to divinity, as simple as that.
Yeah,
So if we're all upset or something, we can just stop and breathe and use that as a moment to gather our own peace.
Right.
And we're blessed with plenty of air.
right, we can do that anytime we
Isn't that
remember
wonderful?
and choose to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Lucinda.
Well, one of the things with being in the now is the practice of being with everything. But it's not a common experience for me, but during those times when I feel like I am one, I can feel that I'm one with everything. There's no room for anger, there's no room for hate,
Right.
there's no room for anyone not being you,
Yes,
a part of that, like you are. There's no room for that,
right,
or it doesn't exist within that feeling state for me.
yeah. Thank you, that's a great pivot point for where I'm headed next. So this pivot, this theme for the month, Living Buddha, Living Christ. Let's look at one of the most powerful teachings, in my view, my opinion, of the Master Teacher Jesus. Love your enemies.
Hmm.
Love your enemies. This is what we're talking about, changing how you see, the people that maybe you disagree with. Love your enemies. What? How do I do that? By definition, my enemy is an opponent, right? Someone opposed to my views, someone creating difficulty in my life or in the world as I perceive it. How do I love that? How do you love that?
Suspend judgment.
Okay, suspend judgment,
Non-attachment.
non-attachment,
Compassion.
compassion,
See yourself in that being.
see yourself in that being.
In ancient times, enemies had respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now opponents are contemptuous of each other.
Right.
But in those days, there was great respect for your foe, and so I think what he was calling forth is for us to look at it from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
There are enemies because we're at odds over whatever issue we're at odds over, but that person is also a child of God,
Okay.
an expression of God.
They have feelings too.
Yeah.
Staying curious.
Staying curious.
Yeah, just curious
Okay.
about, I wonder what brought them to that belief or opinion
Right.
or,
Yeah.
the same thing. What is it like to be
What's
them?
it like to be you?
And just curious about the position,
Right.
instead of, I'm opposed. It's more
Mhm.
like, what brings you to that? More
Right.
of a conversation.
Yeah. So what if I say to you that I cannot love an enemy? That I must change my perspective about that other to one of understanding, meaning that now you are no longer my enemy.
Something I like to keep in mind is that my feelings and reactions to someone I see as my enemy
Mm-hmm.
say more about me than them.
Thank
That
you.
said, it is a reflection of who I am, not
Yes.
an accusation of them.
Yes. Aren't we grateful to hear such words from our next generations coming forward? Oh, man. Yes. How I feel about and act toward my enemy says more about myself than it does about the other.
I like the saying that the best way to get rid of your enemies is to make them friends.
Right. Yeah. So the Dalai Lama calls them sacred friends. Right? These are my sacred friends. These are the people who have had suffering just like I have. And so, in the way they maybe behave or are in the world or in my experience, creates suffering in me. I allow it to create suffering in me, which grows me if I take it as a challenge and allow it to grow me. So a shift in perspective from this song, May I Have No Enemies. You can take that as some rosy, view. It's impossible to have no enemies. But if you really look at that as just changing how you see those people to, these are my sacred friends. These are people who have suffering and pasts and just like I do. And from that place of understanding, then to love another becomes more possible. Yeah, Barb.
Just stripping away the stories we have of people and coming
Yes.
back to drop the names, drop everything
Yeah.
around them, and just the humanity and
Right.
someone with a family and people who love them.
Yeah. Stripping away the stories that we tell ourselves about people. Again, it's going back to it's saying more about me than it is about them.
Yeah, if we persist in holding them as an enemy, there's no other way they can show up
Right.
in our consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah. We're holding them in that spot.
And I would say in that, and I heard Jamie mention it, a miracle has happened.
Yes.
And those are what miracles seem to be.
Right.
Change.
The miracles are our own change in perception, our own change of heart. Bob?
Yeah. That the old belief, what you give, you will receive. So if
Yes.
I give hostility and anger at my perceived enemies, I will get it back from them
Right.
in return.
Spiritual principle at work.
Yeah.
What you plant is what you get back. Maybe not from the same person, maybe not from the same direction, from life in general.
Is that called the boomerang effect?
Could be called boomerang effect. Some see it as in the very instant that I'm planting the seed, I'm already given the gift back. It's the receiving is in the giving. One more comment, and then I have one more pivot.
Just it's good to learn to cultivate non-judgment. It's
Mhm.
the judgment part that makes others wrong, that
Right.
gets our ire up, and we need to
Yeah.
defend. So let's just not call that wrong. How about just,
Right.
it's just is.
Yeah, it comes back to dropping the stories. That's my story, is that's wrong. I'm right, that's wrong. That's my story.
And I'm stuck in it.
I'm stuck in it. So one more pivot, so I do need to watch our time this morning. Thich Nhat Hanh also talks about finding our true home. He likes to talk about our true home. And Christianity in its many forms might call heaven our true home, especially a more traditional, fundamental Christianity is literally talking about a place, heaven, our true home. A more progressive Christianity would look to the words of Jesus and say, the kingdom is both within and at hand. And when we find the sacred in all of this, that is our true home. Buddhism and Christianity have great similarities between them, actually, and this is one of them. So listen to this quote from Going Home, Jesus and Buddha as Brothers. What is the meaning of true home? When we are mindful, fully living each moment of our daily lives, we may realize that everyone and everything around us is our home. Isn't it true that the air that we breathe is our home? That the blue sky, the rivers, the mountains, the people around us, the trees, and the animals are our home?
Yes.
Well, I guess I know your thoughts on that. Anyone else? I concur.
Dave, yeah. I'm with Dave.
What he said.
Yes,
I
Chris.
describe it as it's the peaceful presence.
Peaceful presence.
presence of creation.
Okay.
It's what I meant, well, when I was saying, I see God.
Right.
Because
There you go.
you're
Home.
there, you see God.
Yeah. He goes on to say, sometimes we have a feeling of alienation. We feel lonely and as if we're cut off from everything. We've been a wanderer and have tried hard but have never been able to reach our true home. However, we all have a home, and this is our practice, the practice of going home. You only need to stop being a wanderer in order to be at home. What a powerful thought it was to me when I read that. You only need to stop being a wanderer in order to be at home. What are some of the ways that we wander?
We let ourselves be distracted by
Okay,
the stuff around us that is not
all right.
positive.
So we let ourselves be distracted by all kinds of stuff around us, much of it not positive.
Yep.
Okay,
We get,
Chris?
we get distracted by our own emotions. We let that carry us.
Okay, distracted by our own emotions and get carried away by that.
We get reactive rather than proactive.
get reactive rather than proactive.
We
Yeah.
do-
April hasn't spoken yet. Thank
For me, home is a perception.
you. Okay.
And, you know, a lot of people say home is, you know, you, certain people you feel at home with, or certain
Mhm.
places or whatnot, but if you bring that more internally, like, you can feel home wherever you are. For me, I feel home no matter where I am because home is inside me.
Okay.
And, you know, yesterday hanging out, doing stuff, I felt at home.
Mm-hmm.
This morning, 4:30 in the morning on a boat, fishing, watching eagles fly with my buddy, I'm at home.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever I am, I'm at home because I'm at home inside myself.
Beautiful.
And maybe if we could share that more on a
Mhm.
larger scale, if everyone had that sense of home inside myself, then no matter where we go or who we're with, we're home. And
Right.
if we assume that home is where our family lives, then whoever is around you becomes your family.
Right.
And now we're all at home.
Everybody feel at home?
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe we can sing Home on the Range.
Maybe next time. Mark.
I just wanted to say, the word escape, if we feel this need to escape, let's
Okay.
stop ourselves for a moment and wonder why, and try to bring ourselves back to a centered place, where we
Yeah.
don't need to escape from something.
Right. Okay, so that's one way that we wander, right? Escapism. We have all kinds of ways of escaping what is right now to not be present. Go ahead.
I was just gonna share my new brother-in-law coined a phrase that I hadn't heard, productive procrastination.
Oh, productive procrastination. That's another way we wander. Yeah. We sometimes jump from one thing to another, to another, to another. Well, again, we talked earlier about, you know, from home to home to home, or friendship to friendship, or relationship to relationship, spiritual practice to spiritual practice to spiritual practice. Because this one's a little too hard, and maybe this one will be easier, or fit me better, or that's wandering. Going from tradition to tradition to tradition, because we were raised in one, it doesn't fit, so we're going to try that, and that's fine. But do we give it time to see if it's really for us or not? Or do we go, oh, I don't know about that, let's try this. Oh, let's have our fingers in a little of everything. Not making it wrong, just saying it is a form of wandering.
It's a form of escaping the
It's a form of
reality of who
escapism.
we are.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so we're gonna go find out there something that's gonna fit
Yes.
us instead
Right.
of us working to be
Right.
in the harmony of it.
And we do it sometimes with jobs or careers. And we do it sometimes with communities that we're involved with spiritual communities. You know, we jump around. Again, nothing wrong with looking for what fits. But if you spend your whole life jumping around and never settling in, because why might we do that? Okay, let's use spiritual community, because that's what we are here. Why might we be tempted to do that skipping around thing? Give me just a second to see if any. Huh?
To get other perspectives.
Okay, so to get other perspectives. Why else might we do that? And that's valuable, to get perspectives.
To not be still.
Okay, to not be still. We might do it just to keep on the move. Chris?
A lot of times say, I just don't want to think about it.
Okay.
And it's conscious.
Uh-huh. Just don't want to think about it.
Go someplace else where you don't think about it.
Okay. Chris?
I think there's something within us. When we get into a community, we get deeper and deeper, and at some point, we're required to be more vulnerable. And
Bingo.
we get to that tipping point where more
Yeah.
is required and more vulnerability is required of us.
Right.
And we freak out and run like hell.
Things get just a little too close. And people are going to really get to know us.
They push us out of our comfort zone.
Yeah, push you out of your comfort zone, really getting to know one another. And if we're not secure in who we are, if we're not sure that being known will be positive for all involved, maybe I'm not spiritual enough to be in this community, or maybe I'm not whatever enough. It doesn't matter. Maybe when they get to know me, they won't really like me after all. Any of this sound familiar?
I'm thinking what April said.
Mm-hmm.
When we're comfortable with who we are,
Yes.
and we've accepted ourselves, it's in our self-acceptance that we can be at home anywhere.
Yes. So first, it begins like everything else, being at home within yourself.
And then our wandering changes.
And then your wandering changes. So you want to say more about that?
It becomes more centered.
Okay.
And it goes back to exactly what she said, our home is wherever we are.
Right.
Wherever we are is home. But the wandering is not a searching, it's an exploration.
Oh,
Jesus
beautiful.
wandered.
Beautiful.
Jesus was a wanderer.
Jesus was a wanderer.
And I see the reflection. I don't understand this very well, but my name is Walker before marriage. And it is just so appropriate in these places. I mean, I'm just sharing this in a vulnerable way because it's just a reflection or a thought of a deeper space of mystery. A deeper space of mystery that is somehow connected. That's all I've got. That's kind of a flared thought, but it's in here somewhere.
So that, hello, Judy.
Hello.
There she is.
April turned into somebody else.
April turned into Judy while I wasn't looking. So what I'm finding right now, we're all, we're a community and we go through change after change after change. That's what we do. It's why we're independent. It's why we're, our own being, our own entity, so we're free to have those things happen. And what I've seen over the 5 years is, people who wander in and wander out and wander in and wander out, and that's all perfectly normal. See some people that wander in and they're in and there's been no wandering out. All of this is happening all the time, and it's just important to remember that that is the nature of who we are. There's nothing unusual about that. But also to remember within ourselves that when we feel tempted to step out of whether it's here or anything we're involved in, it's important to ask ourselves what's behind that. Is it an escape? Am I feeling vulnerable? Am I afraid that getting too close is scary? Is it scary for me to get close? We are a relatively small community where churches are concerned. When you look at Pathways around the corner, mega, we're an intimate community. We are a family. And so that can be frightening for some people. But please know that this is a safe space. And I think anyone that's been here for any amount of time can vouch for that.
Amen.
So in your wanderings, know you always do have a safe space here. I'm going to pivot us right on out. Actually, I'm going to talk just one more minute. I'm not going to pivot yet because there's a piece here that I haven't covered in this our spiritual community moving, changing, and growing. I asked this question, why is commitment to community, any kind of community, if you're going to be involved in a community, why is commitment to the community important?
Because if you don't commit to a community, there is no community for you.
Okay. If you don't commit to a community, you're not really there.
Exactly.
And so you're not really in community. You're on the periphery watching a community. That's a little different. And we're-
I was gonna say something similar, like that you don't get to the good stuff.
You don't get to the good
You know,
stuff.
because when you initially come into community, I
Right.
think it is more about what is happening in your own life, how maybe that you need that support, that you
Mhm.
are on a search,
Right.
and you actually probably receive a lot more than you give at that point because you need it.
Right.
But then there becomes a point where now you've been filled enough with the love, the generosity, the even teaching
Right.
From your community, that you now have the honor and the blessing to give back to it. And there's so much in that. Like I
Yeah.
touched on that with you, that
Yeah.
you know, I had the example that I don't necessarily like going to hospitals,
Right.
but every time I'm asked to do that,
Mhm.
I just, now there's tears in my eyes, because when you can sit with someone when they're in the most vulnerable space and be there for them, and then they're thanking you, and you're
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
this is a blessing for me, thank you.
Yeah.
So.
So that there's a reciprocal nature of being in community. We often, especially going back to spiritual community, we often come in a place, not always, but often, people come in a low place. They come in a place of need, of needing to be filled, of needing to find direction, of needing maybe even more than that. And they seek what others have to offer, and they take it in, and then they heal. And they learn new practices, and they listen to new teachings, and they find their way to their path, and they become stronger and stronger. And before you know it, as you're saying, you have it to give back. And if you don't have the commitment to stay with it long enough to heal, to grow, to gain, and then to give back, a community can't grow and get stronger. A community can't continue to grow and get stronger. Yes.
And I think you're talking about the sacred messiness of community.
The sacred messiness of community. Oh my goodness. We are such a loving, open space, but have we had some messiness in our 5 years, y'all? Are we having some messiness still healing right now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just part of the deal. It's part of life. It's not something you need to be afraid of or run from. It's just part of life. Now I'm going to move us forward toward lunch. I'm going to pray us out, though. First, before I do that, is there anything else that is just burning to be said? Because sometimes when I directly talk community like that, sometimes it trips people and triggers them. And that part of us that is vulnerable and afraid gets, oh no, there she goes. Yes?
It's like say that a lukewarm commitment gives you lukewarm results.
That's true.
And so if
That's
you're
true.
giving the community a lukewarm
Right.
commitment, then that's all you can expect back.
Yes. And that's no matter what kind of a community that you're involved in. It's true. So let's move into the heart space. Take a couple nice deep breaths. Moving deeper and deeper inward. Allowing yourself to return to the truth about you, to your true nature, to your divine center. At the heart of all that is, there is one source, there is one life, there is only one thing going on here. That one thing, that one isness, forever loving, forever giving of its infinite nature, becoming all of creation, experiencing life as me, as you, as all that has ever existed and all that will ever be. I am, you are created in the image and likeness of Source. Pure, unblemished, whole, and complete. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Take a moment to feel and know your own divinity, your own sacredness. The physical world is fleeting, and we are privileged and grateful to be a part of it. It is ours to make this experience as beautiful and joyous as possible for ourselves and all who cross our paths. We accept this call today. We give thanks for this beautiful day, all of the many countless blessings that are constantly showered down upon us and all around us. We give thanks for the opportunity to gather with our chosen family in celebration and communion with the One. We give thanks for this amazing life with all that it brings, those things that are graceful and easy and beautiful and welcomed, and those circumstances that grow us in patience and resilience and character and love and integrity. So from this place of deep gratitude and in faith that my prayer is answered, even before it is spoken, I release it now to the loving and lawful presence that I call God. It is done, and so it is. Amen. Thank you for letting me talk about community today with my community. So now I invite you to join in the celebration of the work that we're doing in this community, this greater Reading community and beyond, by sharing of your financial good should you choose to do so. And if you're at home, you can go to mysticheart.org to use our donate button to find our mailing address. We also have a gracious giving program for those who would like to make a heartfelt monthly commitment of support so we can more effectively plan our next steps. And while we do this today, because I'm so excited to be going next month to see Jason Mraz, we're going to look at another Jason Mraz song this morning. Yay! Get up and dance if you want to. Look for the good.
Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. Yo, let me tell you about people. People done gone crazy. People done gone mad. People done forgot the superpowers we all have. We were born to love, not hate. We can decide our fate and look for the good in everyone and celebrate all our mistakes if there's a silver lining. Silver lining. You still have to find it, find it, find it. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone, 'cause everyone needs sunshine.
carrying around some kind of pain. I see who you are, just like me. I see you're searching for a purpose, guided by a dream. I see who you are, just like you. And I get lost sometimes and I forget what I came here to do. So I keep on trying, when it gets frightening. I look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look for the good in everyone. Everyone is nature. Everyone is God. Everyone is love and light and vibration. Look for the good. Look for the good. Everyone gets mad sometimes, and maybe they should. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look out for all the heroes in your neighborhood. Look for the good. Look for the good. You know that life sure would be sweeter if everybody would. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look for the good in everyone.
So knowing your good that you give today is going out into the world and giving good to everything and everyone. So I release this prayer knowing it is so. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you. So stand for our closing song.
And it smells good next door right now.
All together, hand in hand, we see the light, we take a stand, and we are changing. A whole new life for you and me. Take the past and set it free, and share this blessing.